this was predestined. So this is the first time I've heard from you that, it's basically in our own hands. So I would like to know how really it is in my own hands to get something done.
See, if it is predestined, there is no such thing as right path and wrong path, because you cannot even choose the path, isn't it? So, you saying it is all destined and still making an effort to walk the right path doesn't make sense, isn't it so? So definitely it's not predestined, otherwise that's why you're still trying to see what is the right thing to do, isn't it so? If everything is predestined, where is the need for you to think, boy, which is right and which is wrong? Anyway, this is the way you're going to go. Is that the reality? No, that's not the reality, isn't it? If two paths come, you can choose this one or this one. Do you have the choice or no? See, you're trying to absolve yourself of all the mistakes that you make in your life.
No, I'm trying to stop myself from committing more mistakes, so I need to understand this.
Now, when you say, whenever I make a wrong choice, it's all predestined, you're only trying to absolve yourself from the mistakes that you make, isn't it? You don't want to say that I've made a mistake. You want to say, oh, it happened because it's God's will. Now, too much bull like this has been going on for too long. And this is the reason why something that's a natural progression of life has become so difficult for human beings. Enlightenment is not something that you have to force upon yourself. It is a natural progression of development. But you're not allowing that natural progression to happen because you're creating these kind of contradictions. We'll take what you said as example, there are many examples different ways. Now you say on one level, everything is predestined. On another level, you're choosing a way out of your present whatever, isn't it?
That is what causes the confusion.
You are causing the confusion. Because first thing you started, I believe everything is predestined. That means you started…
I'm brought up to believe.
Okay, whichever way. Okay, we pass the buck to the parents. I have been brought up to believe. So now I believe. Is it okay? And even that believing is not mine. I have been brought up to believe. Your believing means you're assuming something that you do not know, isn't it? Yes. Why do you believe something? Like for example, how many of you believe in God? Please raise your hand. The sleeping ones also, please. Okay. How many of you believe no God? Please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4… What is this half hand? 6. Okay. Some people believe there is God, some people believe there is no God. How many of you believe that you have 2 hands? All such people just raise 1 hand. Yes, ma'am? Yes? Okay. Do you believe that you have 2 hands, or do you know that you have 2 hands? You know. Even if you have no eyes to see these hands, still do you know that you have hands? Yes. It's a living experience, isn't it? Even if you cannot see them, you still know you have hands. With hands you know, with God you believe. Why?
Not experience God. Not experience God.
So you're full of bullshit, that's what it means. Somewhere you're not sincere enough to admit, I do not know. That's your problem. Everything that you do not know, you want to say, I believe. with great confidence. And if you go on like this, your life will become a bigger and bigger mess, because you're assuming things and trying to live. And your assumptions are not so strong enough because your mind is not simple enough. You may assume one thing, but the other part of the mind is continuously asking questions. If you had a very simple, childlike mind, your assumption is all that you had, you would become a devotee. It'll work. That will work. But now you have a little more complex intellect. It doesn't accept any assumption totally. It accepts only to the extent it's comfortable, convenient. Beyond that, it doesn't. Right now, your belief in God is just like this. You do everything that is important to you. God is like an insurance on the side. I have also paid my premium in case something goes wrong. Isn't it so? All the vital aspects of your life, you're holding it in your hands. Are you holding it or no? Your money, your children, everything that matters to you, you're holding it in your hands. God is like insurance, just in case something goes wrong. I also paid my premium. Every week I came and saw you, God, what are you doing? This doesn't work. Because of this deception, life has become such a mess. It's not because of God or no God you become a mess. You become a mess because of all this deception. This is the nature of your mind. We are not talking about God, I want you to understand. We cannot talk about God. We are only talking about the deceptions of your mind. On a certain day, a bull just sort of strayed into the forest. Nice greenery, so he just strayed into the forest, grazing, he went deep into the forest. An old lion who was little past his prime, who was having trouble hunting for his food, just saw this big fat bull. His mouth salivated. A bull is an easier thing to hunt compared to the animals of the forest. So he just waited, stalked the bull and attacked him, killed him and ate him up. His stomach became real full. With this full stomach, with great satisfaction, he roared. A few hunters were passing that way. They heard the lion roar. So they tracked him down and shot him dead. The moral of the story is, when you're so full of bull, you should not open your mouth. Too many assumptions. Too many assumptions. With these assumptions, people are going on with great confidence. Disaster is all that can happen. What else can happen? If you're not in touch with reality, and if you go at great speed, will you head for disaster or no? You'll definitely head for disaster. Either as an individual or as a whole society. You definitely head for a disaster if you're running on too many assumptions. Isn't it so? Can we keep our assumptions aside? Just look at reality the way it is. It doesn't matter what your mother said, what your grandmother said, what your father said or your forefathers said. They said whatever they knew or whatever nonsense they believed or whatever nonsense they wanted you to believe. That is also there. Isn't it? They might have put many things that they themselves don't believe because they wanted you to believe something. Haven't they done it? Aren't you doing it? So it's okay. They said whatever they knew. But you have your intelligence to look at life, isn't it? Yes? You have a father or you have a mother. Does it mean to say you should not employ your intelligence? Is that the law? Is that the law? Then why do you say, I was brought up to believe? They can say anything they want. You still have your intelligence, isn't it? Nobody can bring you up to believe anything. They can only feed you and make your body grow. Everything else, they can speak whatever nonsense they speak. You still have your intelligence, which is discerning enough, isn't it? But you kept it in your pocket. You don't want it to come out, because if it comes out, then you have to struggle through knowing things and figuring out things and all this. Now my father said this is the reality. My grandfather also said the same thing, so that is the reality. With this kind of attitude, you know where we have taken the world? Huge disaster, isn't it? Isn't it so? So now, if you really want to know where I stand, first thing is strip off all the assumptions from your life. Just come to bare essentials. What is it that I know? What is it that I do not know? Let's start from there. Then we can go somewhere. Now you don't know which way, it doesn't matter. But do you understand this? If you want to start a journey, you can only start your journey from that point where it is experientially true for you. Yes? Yes? Is it the right place to start your journey? Is that common understanding? First let's come there. Then which way to go, we will see later. First get there. First drop all your bull. Come to the place where you are right now. What is the next step? Then we'll chart it out. We don't have to chart out the whole path right now. We will just chart out what is the next step. According to your understanding, you take the next step. When it works, we will chart out just one more step. If it works, the next step. Okay? Is that fair enough? Yes?
For more on Sadhguru, visit www.ishafoundation.org.